If you go to the general statistic we have on daily basis, mostly you registered 20 breaking cases across the country. And these 20 breaking cases, like house breaking and stealing, if you distribute it into the regions, which of course we have regions of almost 7, which means certain regions, you only have one breaking in a particular region. And most of these breakings, of course, the police at the end of the day will get or arrest the culprit. The murder cases they're talking about, which you are hearing in the media, is happening. But all these murder cases happening, almost all the accused persons are apprehended by the police, as of now for today. And these murder cases are domestic crimes. It happens at homes, happens at clubs, which the security are not present. Because some of these are organized crimes, like when I talk about robbery, if you check in the subject matter, it is reported robbery. But how it happens, where it happens, people also may not understand. And some of those ones are organized crime. You've been hearing here this Bureau de Sands attack. Somebody will come from a particular Bureau de Sands to say, I've been sellotaped and robbed and the like. But at the end of the day, it found false because the police will unveil this organized crime committed by the reporter itself. But of course, I don't know how, but I mean, like in the news or in the papers, if they put up the subject matter of happening, they need to make a follow-up also to know the outcome of what had happened. But most of the time, it is not like that. It will be reported as a subject matter, but the outcome would not be known by the reporters. So it is left like that. Gambians are thinking like if the security component are not doing any effort. And it's different because it's covered. It's uncovered. And then as far as we are concerned, if you go by record, the crime rate is not as high. Gambia is among the least countries registered in crime rate. It depends on how it is reported. But it's not that how it's happening. And if we come to crime, the patrols are 24 hours on. Both the police, both the military, the national drug enforcement. Gambians are seeing vehicles day to day and night time running, patrolling everywhere. The security components are doing the best to make sure this country is secure. If one is to add there, is to say as people, as public in the Gambia, Gambians, people need to change their attitudes. Because crime is at the doorstep of everybody. Every Gambian here, crime is at your doorstep. And people are not coming out with information. If you conceal a crime at your doorsteps and it's happening, if you are secure, but remember, your next neighbor is affected and you are keeping quiet with it, which means you also contributed to the crime rate happening in the country. Because if you conceal it, the police are no magicians, the drug law enforcement officers are no magicians. How would they know? Drug dealers are living in compounds. They are within families, brothers and sisters. Criminals also rob us the same thing. They live in homes. They are not coming from the bush. People are conceding it. Me generally as the crime management coordinator, I cannot remember where even people, most of the time people who write in stories to come up to the police to give or an information to say, come, ABC and DI is here, this is what is happening. No. And there is no single Gambian here or resident in the Gambia here, be with press or anything, who does not know about what is crime is happening at your doorstep, but who is coming forward. So we are trying our best in research and getting them up. And that's the truth. So people here, the general public here, people must change their attitude in the way and manner we concede crime. We all have to come and join hands together and do it. Then you have a crime-free society. Like what the DG said rightly, the police also joined to complement their effort. We, on that exercise, There are particular scenes that happened yesterday at the Tipper Garage when the police are trying to apprehend somebody related to this drug issue. But surprisingly, you see some Gambians, youth, coming out to get a support to those people, to obstruct the police of getting that person. That is why I say people need to change their attitude. So we are all contributing to the committing of this crime or the high rate of crime in this country. It's everybody's responsibility, not to leave it in the hands of the security. Always tomorrow we start blaming the state. Who are the state? We are the state. We are the state. Every single Gambian, you are part of the state. So we should not be blaming the people, pointing fingers at an individual to say the state, the state. Who are the state? We are the state. Even you sitting down seeing crime going on, you are neighbored with somebody committing the crime, but because you don't want to reveal him because he's a neighbor or the father or the mother is known to you, you're concealing it. How many people is he harming? Then obviously you are also part of the people committing the crime. You are aiding. So let's stop that blame game, pointing finger to each other to say the state. It's everybody's responsibility to fight against crime. But as far as we are concerned, the general overview, crime is very minimal in this country nowadays. It's happening, but wherever it's happening, most of the time it's an organized crime, and we unveil it. You can come to the doors of the police if you want. Any report you have overheard, maybe robbery or murder or anything, if you want an update, come to the police, get in touch with our PRO, you'll get the update. And there you will know the effort the police or the security component, what they are doing, despite with all the limited resources. Sometimes it's difficult. Crime scene is in Kunkuja. You want a particular police station to act on it quickly. To go there, to read there, sometimes it's a problem. We know how we manage with the limited resources we have. And that's all to the security component, be it with the police or the NDA or any other part. But I think if we join hands together to make this country crime-free, we can do it, and it has to be collectively. But as far as we are concerned, crime rate is minimal into the country compared to other countries. What is happening there? That's not happening in the Gambia. So if something happened and then is reported, please come after to know the outcome of it. Then you will know whether effort has been made by the security body or not. But if you put up the subject matter and announce it and you keep quiet, you never go back to make a decide, to know the conclusion. You will be very unfair with the security's activities or the output.
We coordinate and collaborate among ourselves. Just last week, Gambia Immigration Department registered a case of coups, and they handed over to the Drug Law Enforcement Agency. So this tells you that there is coordination and collaboration among ourselves. Not all cases were registered mostly comes from Drug Law Enforcement Agencies. Some of the cases are interdicted by our counterparts and handed over to us. Yesterday, the police handed over 3 cases of coups to us. So that's interagency collaboration and coordination that is existing. So all of us at the borders, they are the focal points when it comes to border. There's control of migration, people going in and out, and they are doing all what they can. Of recent, you are aware of, equipping the borders, with the help of MIDAS, DCAF and others. They've provided a lot of support to Gambia Immigration Department, to improve, their monitoring, within the border lines. So there's coordination and collaboration, So it is not easy. As I said, criminals, not every criminal that wants to enter your country would be interdicted. Some of them, would beat the system. Even in the most powerful states, United States, any other Western country, criminals go in and out. And these people have every facility to detect who you are. But again, they would beat the system. So no country is immune to it, really. But the good thing is, once it happens, it is detected, and the law takes its course on those who commit such crimes. So we need the support of each and everybody. Does that answer your question? That has to do with the Banta case, which is ongoing. Whether you are monitoring the other print media is coming, I think even through your own media, the case is progressing in court. And that of the recent one in 2022, the matter also is progressing in court. So for us as an entity, all these major cases, we have the capacity to prosecute them as an agency. But what we do in consultation with our ministry for transparency and accountability, we refer major cases to the Ministry of Justice for them to prosecute. So once we are done with the investigation, the case file is handed over to Aegis Chambers, who will file the matter in court, and they prosecute those matters. So all the major drug cases are handled by the Ministry of Justice, and they are currently proceeding in courts. So some of them are completed, some are pending, but there is progress in those matters. Like the Banta case is progressing, the Fofana case, which is of recent, is progressing. The Sabine Madi issue, which is many years ago, all know about that. That matter was withdrawn in the Second Republic, through an order. The Laura Food case, also we investigated the matter, and we sent the file to Aegis Chambers for prosecution. But Aegis Chambers said they cannot prosecute that matter because there is no evidence showing that the company have knowledge how those drugs get into their computer. That brings me to enlighten the public about a drug trafficking issue called rip-on, rip-off. Criminals, in Brazil, because that's where the drug emanates from, use, insiders within the ports of Brazil to do rip-on, rip-off. Rip-on, rip-off means if you are a businessman, you order, for example, sugar from Brazil. This is the sugar that you order, and you exhausted every process as far as the ordering of that sugar is concerned. Now, at the point of loading your sugar, criminals would, use insiders to put drugs in your container for it to be ripped off somewhere before reaching your destination. Like, for example, for the Gambia, 90% of all containers on foodstuffs or carrying any goods from any part of the world passes through other ports, because the bigger ships, that loads this, cannot anchor in our ports here. So they pass through Spain mostly, reload them into other medium ships that can anchor here, and they come to the Gambia. So normally they will have partners over there, so that they will allow them, give them all the seal numbers and everything. But where that failed, for them to rip off it in that particular destination, obviously that container will find its way to the final destination. Then if it is detected, now the burden is on the company to prove, how the drug gets into its container. So this is something that is in existence. Criminals make best use of it. Sometimes they will succeed, sometimes they will fail. But where it happens, it's always a problem for the country to prosecute that particular company, because there is no evidence showing. We've done thorough investigation with our partners on Sabine A. Madi case, the DEA, if we are all aware. Experts were invited by us from United States of America. They came here, they conducted forensic investigation for us. And at the end of their investigation, they see no connection connecting Sabine A. Madi to that drug. And they see them as a legitimate company that has existed in this country for more than 100 years. The National Crime Agency of UK also were involved in the investigation. And equally, they also share the same view that this is a legitimate company that have no track record of any involvement in any criminal activity. So as far as they are concerned, their findings are concerned, they cannot associate them with that drug issue that is found in their container. So this is the trend that exists.
Notice in the past, from December to now, is when we probably saw most of this. And they come to us because they have some withdrawal symptoms, like something, they've taken it and suddenly they start having difficulties in controlling their tongue, and the tongue still wagging their mouth and trying to choke them. And that's mostly the reason why they come to us. All these patients with numbers that we had, about the 25 that we're talking about, all that's what they present with. This may not be entirely from the drug itself, but maybe some of the additive they add to the drug, or it could be that, that the strain of drugs that they're using probably changed a little bit from the previous one they've been taking. And this is typically, they all come the same. They come, they can't, some have to hold their tongue, some family members have to hold their tongue, and they be biting the individuals who are holding their tongue, and they struggle until they get to the hospital. Then At some point, we have to suture their tongue on their lips to make sure the tongue doesn't fall back. So it's a very dreadful situation sometimes, and most of these people are children. I mean, I call them children because some 17-year-old, 14-year-old come in with those kind of situations. It's strange and scary. So I think that the community will have to be very, very vigilant. And I'm sure that, as we said, 2 of them came in, died before arriving to hospital. We can't be able to say exactly what is it because these are all verbal autopsies. Like somebody tells you this is what he took, and now we are trying to get him. This is how he gets to the hospital. But importantly, if we don't are able to solve the problem and the person chokes, there's a limited number of hours or minutes that the person can stay without oxygen. Of course, the person will die on the way if oxygen is not taken. So we all have to be very vigilant, not only at identifying those who are using the drug, but also those who have the symptoms. We have to be able to act quickly, get them to health facility quickly, so that the solution will be given to them to solve the problem. I am concerned because these are from households, these are from communities. Gambia is a very close niche. I mean, all these people that come to hospital, you find out that they're either somebody's uncle, somebody's nephew, but more importantly, we are always in denial. After all the people have contact with family members, they always blame somebody. Oh, it is this person who made my child to do this. I'll ask you, is your child, does he smoke? Yes, he smokes. What does he smoke? He only smokes marijuana. But yes, he smokes marijuana, you know that. So this is another kind of marijuana he's taking. So I think that to take it home, people have to be more vigilant. Family members have to take responsibility of these people. They are kids. A 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 17-year-old, and you are now, as a mother or a father, you admit your child is smoking not only cigarette, but smoking marijuana, and they are now blaming somebody who had brought the marijuana. I mean, at least you have a 50% or more than 50% of the blame to yourself. So for me, all of us are parents and all of us are families. We need to work hard and get these monies off our community. If you see somebody in that situation, even if the person, you can't be able to directly talk to them, involve or inform the drug law enforcement agencies so that they take the action quickly. I found a few of them were older people and they were living in the community. They prepared the drug themselves. At least we had one of them that was brought. He was the one preparing the drug. He said he's been doing it in America, and now when he came back to Gambia, he's still doing it. So he took the drug himself and got symptoms and came to the hospital. So meaning we know the people who are doing it. And we know that they've been doing this for a long time. In fact, he had a problem with his family, but they will not report the matter. So the matter is we all have to ensure that we are doing what needs to be done to save our children. These children don't know what they're doing. Very young boys, high school kids, they will probably be in a high school picnic and pick this thing up and they glue to it. And they are very addictive. As long as they start taking it, they glue to it. So to avoid them from starting is the solution. Anyway, thank you very much. And for the media, thank you very much, Minister of Interior.
One was as a result of the person purchasing it through bringing it into the country through a container, which is not even this year or last year. It happened a long time ago. He brought in this rifle without licensing it. The Fajara incident, the same. So these came through the seaport. And we all know we don't have certain devices to detect these rifles when coming in because they came through vehicles shipped into the country. So efforts are being made to ensure that the tests, the searches are intensified and equipment are available to be able to detect these instruments. Also, all these gun violence we have registered, we have apprehended, prosecuted, and convicted those people. So I think that answers your question. About
this partisan one, even the courts, they take their cases there, sometimes the judge will just leave the guy like that and say, at least we're possible, frustrate them, and they talk about this with us. We cannot publish it. But of course, I know maybe the police cannot do much about it.
I am not police of the police, and I never said that. So that is considered void, holds no water. What I can tell you is we have a mandate as a law enforcement body, but we also have a limitation. It is not in our place to say we have arrested, investigated, and prosecuted, so we should determine what happens. That is not our role in the criminal justice system. And whatever complaint that is going from the side, which is normal in every developing country, as long as information about the police is not coming from my office, consider it unofficial.